Hey, it's Thomas DeLauer, the internet's leading intermittent fasting expert. And I've been getting an overwhelming response from women lately who've tried my science-based intermittent fasting course, telling me how incredible they look and feel after just a couple weeks of starting the diet. That being said, there are a few very specific modifications that I highly recommend women use when they're incorporating fasting into their lifestyle. So I'm going to be covering those in this video. Now, if you want to skip ahead to my full presentation on intermittent fasting, you can do so right now by heading on over to SixPackAbs.com. There I've included all of the research behind how fasting is literally one of the most scientifically proven ways to lose weight. I've also taken some of the most popular diet myths that are out there, like never skipping breakfast or don't eat late at night, and I totally bust them using research-based facts. So go ahead and check out my website if you're ready to view my complete presentation on how intermittent fasting can unlock the door for you to reach your full potential. Now, let's talk about women and fasting. So when it comes down to fasting, fasting is a period of time where you don't eat, followed by a period of time where you are eating. It's a lot simpler and a lot easier to follow than any kind of conventional healthy eating, simply because you're going to be getting a lot more results in a lot less time with a lot less preparation. You can eat more of the foods that you want, but when you're a woman, in order to experience the best results with fasting, the time frames need to be adjusted slightly. See, intermittent fasting is pretty simple for guys. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating, but for women, you want to do it slightly different. So when it comes down to the difference between how men fast and how women fast, women want to play around with the timetable in which they're fasting a little bit more. You see, the biggest difference between the male and female body are our hormones, and the female body responds much different to those starvation signals, those starvation hormones, simply because of their biologically innate role to produce children. When the female body is in any kind of deprived state, stress signals are elevated and hormone imbalances start to occur, and that can lead to mood swings, irregular appetite, and unfortunately weight gain. So to combat this, I recommend using a longer eating window and a shorter fasting period than that of a man. So some of the ways that women can detect if intermittent fasting is right for them is going to be if they feel energized when they're fasting, or if they start losing initial water weight and start losing weight within the first week or two. If you start responding in a positive way like that, it's a telltale sign that fasting is right for you. Not everyone responds to fasting, but most people do. But I have to play devil's advocate here and talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of intermittent fasting when it comes down to women. You see, when you're fasting, there's some things that you have to look out for. If you start feeling like you're really cold, that's usually a sign that your thyroid is starting to malfunction a little bit. And that's a telltale sign that you don't want to be fasting. So that's one thing to look out for. Also, if you feel like you're chronically fatigued, like you're not pulling out of the low blood sugar feeling that you sometimes get, that's a good telltale sign that fasting is not for you. Now, mind you, it's few and far between that people experience these things, but it's important to keep them in mind. Now, even if you do start feeling some negative side effects, it doesn't mean that you need to stop fasting altogether. You see, if you're tired, it's somewhat normal for that to occur for the first week or so of fasting. And quite honestly, caffeine is perfectly safe when you're fasting. So it usually is a simple way to get through the initial tiredness. I know it sounds so simple, but don't be afraid of a little cup of black coffee. The other thing that you can do is actually focus on a little bit more mindset principles. Literally stopping and doing some deep breathing, and that's going to reset your hormones a little bit more and get you over the hump. Now, when it comes down to feeling cold, now, the simple thing would be layer up, wear more clothes, but that doesn't address the issue. If you are one of the few people that experience a decline in body temperature, you may need to even shorten your fasting window even more, down to like 12 hours versus 14. So there's your complete guide to intermittent fasting for women. Now, there are a few other essential elements for women to achieve maximum results, such as what type of workouts you can include to reach your goals faster and which you should stay away from on a fasting plan. Another crucial aspect for women is knowing exactly what foods to eat when you break your fast, and also what to avoid. In fact, this is the biggest key to success for both women and men. Now, in my free intermittent fasting tutorial, I go into much more detail on this, and I also explain exactly what you need to be eating, and I also give recommendations on the workouts that you can add into your routine to end up seeing the best results possible. You can see that now at ScienceBasedSixPack.com. I will see you there.